Good morning. It is 7:30 in the morning. I told y'all last vlog I was gonna start coming in the morning, and wow, I really love morning workouts. I bet y'all thought I was gonna say I hate them. I actually really like them. For the longest time, I convinced myself that I wasn't this morning person who could just get up and get after it, but once you do it for 2 days, every day after that is a lot easier. And honestly, the first 2 days were really exciting. And for the people who think that they're not morning people and they don't like the morning, I think it's more so because you might be stressed out about all the things that you have to do and it feels like you're rushing to tasks. Whereas the great thing about doing morning workouts is you have the entire rest of the day to do whatever the fuck you like, which actually relieves a lot of stress for me at least, because it used to be like I would work in the morning, work for a while, so I couldn't work anymore, take a break, go to the gym, have an ineffective session because I'd be thinking about all the work that I have to do when I get back from the gym, and then work again, and I'd be working much more tired. Whereas if I just get up, take a second to chill, not going on my phone, but just make a quick pre-workout snack, sit, be alone with my thoughts for 5 minutes, 20-minute drive over here in the car, get a chill, and then get after it right when I get here. It's actually really nice because then once I get back from the gym, I have 13 hours of my day to just work. And so I no longer have to rush home and be worried about all the stuff that I could be doing with my time. And instead I'm more so just focused on how I can spend my time right now. And one thing that's gonna help you out, like a tip with this, don't check your email or your messages right when you wake up. I haven't checked mine yet. And a lot of times it pulls your focus. And I think that's because people mix up the terms important versus urgent. A lot of things are very important. Not a lot of things are urgent. Think about it in my business for the most part. If I had somebody who I worked with who helps me out with the content side shoot me a text this morning and is like, yo, your Instagram just got blocked or it just got banned, that would be important. That would, hurt me a lot, but it wouldn't be urgent. It's gonna be a longer process to get it unbanned or whatever. So whatever I do in the next couple hours, that I, take my time before I start working on this task, I might as well enjoy my session here. I mean, think about it. Even if I got hit with a lawsuit this morning, that would be important, but it would not be urgent. I would have to take the time gathering the evidence, getting an attorney. There's a infinite possibilities, but those are just the first two that came to mind for some reason. I'm not getting sued, but yeah, geez, I'm just holding on to this weight. This grip is super fat, like the actual bar, so it makes it so much harder to hold on. Good for forearm training, but that's not really the point of these. Grip. Drop the weight. Jump up and lower slow. Brutal. All right, so I started doing chest and back workouts. Unfortunately, my split was a little bit off because I've been doing physical therapy for my knee, and just got scheduled last minute. So I actually hit arms before I hit chest and back, which was yesterday. So I'm pretty sore because I hit shoulders as a part of my arm workout. So we're gonna go a little bit lighter here, but still gonna get after it. You know, I think the biggest thing that I was afraid of was that working out in the morning was gonna see like a noticeable drop off in strength, because objectively, for just looking at it from a science-based perspective, if you eat more times and then work out, you are going to have more energy. You are going to feel stronger. So for the majority of my life, I've trained after doing 2 meals and a pre-workout snack and then training. That I thought got me the best results. But since switching to the morning workouts, as long as you eat a decent amount of carbs either in your dinner or you have a small pre-workout snack before you go first thing in the morning, your body gets acclimated pretty quickly. Like, I don't feel like I've had a drop off in strength whatsoever. I did 10 pull-ups with a 45-pound plate. So I think it's literally just your body getting adjusted to things. Let's hit this shit. First set. Oh, also, one thing that's awesome about hitting back before you hit chest is your lats are gonna be more primed. So when you do this exercise, when you do a chest or pressing motion, you're gonna feel a lot more comfortable and strong while doing so. Assuming you give yourself enough rest in between the exercises, obviously. Here's the quick start for any upper body pressing motion. Set your feet, push out your chest, slight curve in your lower back, retract your scapula, squeeze those shoulder blades together, trap them up against the bench so that you're locked in place, no slipping forward, you're locked in place, actively pressing against the bench with your legs, press fast on the concentric, sorry, I'm playing music really loudly so I can't even hear myself talking. Fast on the concentric, slow on the eccentric, get the full range of motion. Here we go. So I'm a big advocate for high intensity training, because if you're somebody who works a lot, like myself, my average screen time is like 13 hours. I don't know why I'm bragging about that. I do that to myself. I'm not like complaining or anything, but I found that you want to be able to get the maximum amount of results with the minimum amount of time and effort placed in the gym, especially with a really long workday ahead of you. So the great thing about doing high intensity training is volume and intensity kind of work like a little bit of a balance beam. So intensity goes up, volume subsequently has to go down, and vice versa. I mean, in the perfect world, you would do a shit ton of intensity and a shit ton of volume, but that would require for you to be on PEDs, which I'm not. So unfortunately, I can't recover from that. So instead of doing 3 to 4 sets of, 5 to 7 exercises in a workout and banging all that out like I used to do when I was in high school, when I could recover from that because I wasn't as stressed out. Now, I typically do, sometimes on the lower end, 3 exercises, 2 to 3 sets max. I never really ever do more than 3 sets anymore. If you're doing 4 sets, a lot of the times you're probably either a beginner or an intermediate level lifter. I'm not saying that volume isn't beneficial, because if you don't have the ability to push yourself fully to failure or incorporate past failure techniques like drop sets, rest pauses, partial sets, complex sets, a bunch of different stuff, then you kind of have to compensate with volume, because you can't push the intensity even as much as you like. Like, a lot of people will think, oh, that was a really, really hard workout. And difficulty is relative, right? So to them, it might have actually been a really, really hard workout, but you also might have stayed 2 to 3 reps shy of failure just because you're not comfortable pushing yourself that much. And so when you are more of a beginner or an intermediate level lifter, you do have to compensate with volume. But the good thing about when you do more volume, you get more reps, which means you get more opportunities to bridge that gap with you being able to get more intensity. You give yourself more opportunities to quickly speed up the process of training yourself in intensity. And there are a lot of tips that I could give you to kind of bridge that gap even faster so that you don't necessarily have to rely on doing a shit ton of volume to get there. But I should probably say that for another video. It's a lot of tips. Dude, I gotta get a crock pot. I've been seeing these people meal prepping on TikTok using their crock pot and just having all their food ready for the week, like 3 meals was in a crock pot, which is insane. I'm all about efficiency now. Efficiency and being comfortable. I mean, I look like a grandpa in here. I'm surprised I don't have my red light glasses on. Speaking of which, I kind of want to see if you guys actually left any comments on the last video about my red light glasses, because I just recently started doing that, and I'm not doing it right now because it's early in the day and I don't have any eye fatigue. But actually, I haven't even checked any of the comments on the last video. Let's see what we got. Okay, views dropped off kind of hard, but that's all right. Let's see what we got for comments. Really liking those red glasses. You're a beast. Shout out to Alan Job. If I remember to edit this, I probably won't. I'll throw your comment up on the screen. I appreciate you. Hell yeah. Bro, one of these comments, close enough. Welcome back to Society, Luigi. Everybody thinks that I look like that one guy who like shot the CEO. Some of you guys probably don't even know who I'm talking about. I didn't until I started getting these Luigi comments. Apparently there's some dude named Luigi who like shot a CEO or something, and I look close to him just because our eyebrows are similar. Whatever. Awesome. Somebody said I had a cool first name. That feels great, man. I want to name my first son Ares, like the god of war, not the sign, the god of war. What do y'all think? Yay or nay? I'm yapping too much. Ares. You gotta get 7. I love partial reps here. Oh my God. I also just saw a comment asking me how to stay motivated. Motivation in itself is a really long rant, so I'm gonna have to go into noise cancellation mode so that I can really lock in with this one. I have really 2 opinions about motivation. The first opinion is that the majority of people don't stay or keep their motivation because you don't see results in a timely manner, and that usually comes from a structural issue. Usually not work ethic, it usually comes from structure, because a lot of people rely on willpower, but instead if you set yourself up with a system, Jesus, I can't talk. If you set yourself up with a system to make results inevitable, and I know that's not really actionable advice, but that's a whole nother rant on its own, then usually if you are on a system, you're tracking progression, and you stay consistent, your motivation will stay high because you're gonna be getting results in a timely manner. That's my opinion on keeping motivation. However, drumming motivation up is a lot more difficult because I can't make you want it. I genuinely can't. But you have a million reasons to be motivated, whatever it is, business, finding a perfect partner, fitness, anything. You have a million reasons to be motivated. But since, we're in the gym, let's talk about fitness. I could list out every single reason that there is to stay motivated, right? Longevity for kids, you're going to ease a lot of your bodily pain that could accumulate if you weren't in fantastic physical conditioning. You won't breathe hard going up the stairs. You're gonna get attention from others when you take your shirt off. You're gonna get more discipline and respect in business situations. A million different reasons, right? I don't need to go into all of that because everybody already knows that. However, the majority of people feel like not the majority, but a lot of people feel like they just want it, but they aren't necessarily motivated to get that. And so if you kind of want to bridge that gap for motivation, you need one thing, gratitude. And gratitude is hard to kind of make it like, if gratitude were a solve for X equation where X was gratitude, this is how you would solve for it. You have to put yourself in the position of what it would be like to experience whatever it is that you're trying to, be motivated towards, and then you have to remove it. So let me show you about this. How do you be grateful for your health? The majority of people, when they wake up and they aren't in pain, they're not very grateful. It just kind of slips by in their mind. However, if you take 30 seconds to imagine what would it be like if you woke up and you had cancer and it hurt to get out of bed, and oh my gosh, you only have this amount of time to live with your friends and your family. What are you gonna say to them if it's gonna be your last couple months living? How are you gonna experience? And all of these kind of thoughts come into your head. And then after 30 seconds of that, remember where you are. Oh my gosh, thank God I don't have cancer. Thank God I have fantastic health. You are now grateful for your health, and now that is how you solve for being grateful. Here's how we relate that back to fitness. A lot of people struggle with motivation because they aren't grateful. And so if you want to be more grateful, if you lived a day in my shoes where you experienced what it was like to walk down the street or walk into your local grocery store and have people like say nice things to you or say that you're looking good or turn heads, just be like, oh man, that dude's jacked, you know, guys and girls. And I know this sounds egotistical, but it really happens. I'm just giving you the honest truth about the reality in the shoes that I walk every single day. If you had experienced that and then removed that, you would be extremely motivated to get it back. You would be starving for that level of success in your fitness. And so a lot of people aren't grateful because they don't understand what it's like to experience those things. So you almost have to imagine yourself with those things. Imagine if the girl or the guy that I went up to, instead of me having to go up to them, they came up to me because I was just in such fantastic physical shape that they just wanted to shoot their shot with me. Imagine if I had such great physical conditioning that I set my kids up and my grandkids up to look up to me because I was this beacon for health and fitness, somebody that they respected and looked up to. Imagine when I took off my shirt at the beach, everybody turned their head like, oh my gosh, that dude looks so great. I wish I looked like that dude. I need to ask him what he's doing. Like, if you imagine all of these scenarios and then remove it, holy shit, are you gonna be motivated? And that's kind of how you get started on the motivational aspect. Now, that's kind of how I help others find their motivation. Whereas a lot of people already are motivated in a sense, it's just not deep enough. And I think using that trick of finding something to be grateful for, removing it, helps you kind of bridge that gap again, or at least intensifies the motivation that you have. Because realistically, I can't make you motivated. I have another thing that I want to say on this. However, I'm yapping. One more set. We're gonna make this a drop set. Jeez, I have like cotton mouth amount of talking. No music set. I don't need it. I wish I would have set this up a little bit better for the drop set, in which case I would have already had this one on just like that with a 45 on top. Oh, here we go. Come on. Okay, as long as you get 3 reps, it's a successful drop set. Oh yeah. See that right there, my friends, is intensity. So, the last thing that I wanted to say on motivation is if you inherently aren't motivated to get the thing, that's fine. It's fine. I'm really out of breath. If you are satisfied with what you currently have in some facets of life and are focusing on improvement in other aspects of your life, that is okay. It is okay. It is 100% okay. For example, let me apply it to me. I right now am extremely motivated when it comes to content, business, and friendships and relationships. Really improving myself on those couple aspects. So I'm in more of a progression phase of my life with those. However, I'm not that motivated to get any more jacked. And I know that sounds contradictory. Whoa, you're a fitness coach and you're not trying to get more jacked. I got to where I'm happy with. I'm extremely, extremely happy with my body. Now, there will be a future phase in my life where I'm like, okay, I want to get leaner, I want to get more jacked, and I will probably make that happen because I know how to make it happen. And whenever I do want to make that happen, I will. That's the great thing about having the skills that I have now, is I can use them whenever I like. And so if I want to be in a progression phase with my business and my content, and I want to be in more of a maintenance phase with my physique, I can make that happen. And I'm not that motivated. However, I am disciplined, so I will at least maintain what I currently have. And it's a lot easier to maintain than it is to gain, which is another whole round on its own. But it's the same thing for fitness. Like if you came to me and you're like, honestly, Dirk, this just really isn't that big of a priority. I actually had a call where somebody applied for my coaching a couple days ago, and I got on the phone with them, and I asked them, like, well, how big of a priority is this for you? Because you didn't really write that much on the application. And they were like, well, to be honest, like, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at, but it would be nice to, have a better physique. And so then I was like assessing their situation, what they currently are doing, where we can find improvements. And then I was like, okay, well, this is what we can do to kind of game plan out the first phase of the program that I would build you. This is what I think we should do. And they're like, that seems like a lot of effort. And I'd be like, okay, well, we can kind of remove a little bit of it and we could focus on doing this initially. And then as you feel more comfortable, we can progress the intensity as we go, which is how I usually approach the majority of the custom programs that I build. And then they were like, yeah, man, to be honest, I don't really want to change anything that I'm doing. And I was like, well, nothing changes if nothing changes, right? So if you genuinely want different results than the ones you have right now, you therefore have to be at least willing to make some changes. I'm not saying you have to sacrifice the world, but we can find ways to make whatever the changes that you're going to make more enjoyable so that you genuinely look forward to them. Like when I started working out, I didn't like it for the first couple of months, but I found ways to make it more enjoyable so that I kept wanting to consistently show up, and I was going to do the same for this person. But the thing is they were like, yeah, man, but I just don't even know if I want it that bad. And I was like, fair enough. I can't want it for you. That's the one thing I definitely can't do. If you want it and you are motivated and you genuinely want to see damn results, I am good at making that happen, but I cannot enforce the willpower for you to change. That is something you have to come to me with. And that's the same thing with motivation. If you are satisfied with your current situation and maybe you're, in a season of progress with your business or in a season of progress with your relationships or other aspects of life, that's fine. You don't need to be motivated to change your fitness. If it's just something that, is a nice idea that you would like if it was convenient for you, then it's not going to work, realistically. Because you can make fantastic results with literally just going 3 times per week for 45 minutes, which is what I did actually for a big season of my life. And the thing is some people aren't even willing to do that. And at that point, it's like, well, if you're not willing to make changes, then your body won't be willing to make changes that you want either. And so it sounds like you don't really want it. And I know that's a little bit harsh, but I think it's a reality that a lot of people need to start kind of being more comfortable with. It's okay if you aren't that motivated to make the changes that you want. You don't have to make those changes. Live your life however the fuck you want. But if you want different results, then you have to be at least somewhat motivated or willing to make changes to make those results happen. Next exercise.
I will say one thing, just to finish this off. I'm not going to repeat anything I already said because you guys know I have a habit to ramble. But if you are somebody who wants to increase your motivation almost subconsciously, the first thing that you could do to make that inevitable is to reshape your environment to do so. If you were hanging out around with people who just played video games all day, all they did was talk about video games, they played video games, they watched other people play video games, they watched tutorials on how to get better at playing video games, they read books on video games. If your entire life was video games and that was your entire friend group and you hung out with them 5 days a week just playing video games, guess what? Even if you didn't like video games, you would know a hell of a lot about video games. You would automatically kind of almost just, if somebody came up to you on the street and asked you what your favorite video game is, you might feel like you're almost programmed to answer with whatever your friends say, right? And it's almost like the same thing with money. If you didn't really know that much about money, but you hung around people who made a lot of money, all they did was talk about money, read books on money, money. All you did was hang out with them and you didn't have a job and you didn't give a fuck about money, guess what? You would start fucking caring about money because it's how you're surrounded. It's your environment now. And the people that you surround yourself with are probably the biggest influence on your environment. So if you're like, I'm not really that motivated to get in shape, it's probably because you are at the same standard as your friends when it comes to your level of physical conditioning, or even worse, you're slightly above them. If all of your friends are slightly below you when it comes to your physique, how in shape you are, you're going to be extremely satisfied because you're doing better than Joe Schmo. Whereas if you start comparing yourself to people who are absolute killers and have amazing physiques, you know what I mean, who go crazy in the gym, you subconsciously are going to be more motivated to want to get a better physique, which is why having a coach is so helpful, because you have somebody who genuinely you are holding up to a higher standard that you are trying to achieve that same set standard. You know what I mean? I will say, just really quickly, finishing this up, comparisons. A lot of people think they're a bad thing. Comparing yourself to somebody else is not a bad thing. It's the emotion placed on the comparison that can be detrimental to you. For example, this kid is 21 years old. He's making more money than me. Therefore, I suck, I'm a loser, and I don't work hard. You know, the initial comparison, this kid is working his ass off and making more money than me at a younger age, that's fine. I am a loser, I suck, this kid is gonna be way farther ahead of me for the rest of my life. That is the issue. You need to be able to separate those two. Comparisons are great because you can look at it as a motivating factor that has genuine proof that you would be able to accomplish that same thing if you did what they were willing to do, made the sacrifices they were willing to make. And I feel like that gives me a sense of comfort knowing that whatever I want to achieve is possible if somebody else has already achieved it, because then I just needed to replicate at least similar steps as to what they got. And it doesn't mean I'm going to necessarily get their exact level of success, but at least I can get close to it. So if you're the dude who's sitting at home feeling sorry for himself, thinking, oh, that kid's in such great shape, it's because he's only 23 years old, or it's because he lives in the gym, or he sacrifices what he likes to eat, and all he does is eat super healthy, he's super disciplined, and I can never walk a day in his shoes, therefore I'm a loser and I'm miserable, and I'm never going to accomplish anything in my life. If you have that general outlook, then you're right. But if you look at that same person and you think, holy shit, that kid was able to achieve something that I haven't been able to achieve at a younger age, maybe I should listen to him. Because I measure experience in success, not time spent doing X, whatever it is. I'm gonna let y'all sit with that one. I gotta hit a warm set.
This is what we're gonna do. So I have a torn ACL. For all the people who were following me on Instagram, you guys know that entire story.
So with this exercise, it does feel a little bit unstable on my knee. So I'm gonna go a little bit lighter. I'm gonna focus on the contraction, squeeze. I'm gonna hold for about a second each individual rep. And that way I'm going to eliminate any sort of momentum and any irregularities in form. And it's also gonna provide more stability on my knee because I'm not gonna have to go as heavy, but still be able to get the same amount of stiffness. Even fitness coaches make mistakes, people. I don't know if you saw it for those first 3 reps. I totally forgot about the pause. Shit happens. Do you want to know the only true shortcut to life? To success? To be more motivated or getting whatever the hell you want? The only true shortcut in life is showing up every single day. First off, because of the law of compounding returns, which is obvious, if you show up every single day, you get compounding returns. If you know how interest works, if you know how investments work, you understand that. I don't need to ramble. But most importantly, if you show up every day, some days you're gonna get lucky. Everybody has lucky days. The difference is the people that show up every single day get those lucky days. And the people who skip days, they might have just missed their lucky day. This applies to everything. If you're the dude who's, missing the day of work, where your boss is in a really fantastic mood and he happens to walk by while you're on the phone and you just land a new client for the business and it's a lot of money, and it only would have happened because this client reached out to you last minute and they needed somebody ASAP. You hop on the phone with them, it was the perfect timing. You land them, your boss is walking by, gives you a crazy promotion. Guess what? You wouldn't have got that if you didn't show up that day. And you don't know if it's gonna happen because the majority of days aren't your lucky days. But the people who are willing to show up regardless because of their discipline will ensure that when those lucky days do come, they're going to be there to seize them. The only shortcut in life is showing up every single day. For those two reasons, primarily the second one. So, chest and back. Why are you training chest and back? Those are some pretty big muscle groups, Dirk. Well, typically, if I'm gonna do a chest and back workout, this is how I structure it. One priority lift for both, usually rotating. So if I did chest on the first chest and back day, second chest and back day, I'm gonna start with back. But you have one priority lift that you're really prioritizing your strength progression at the very beginning of the lift. That's 2 exercises. The next 2 exercises are going to be a superset, and the next 2 exercises after that are going to be a superset. So in reality, it only feels like you're doing 4 total exercises because you're doing 2 exercises initially. Let's say pull-ups and incline press machine like I did today. Every single exercise after that, I'm going to be doing a superset. So it's only 2 more supersets, and you're going to have an extremely effective workout, 35 to 50 minutes. Extremely effective. The issue and why I'm not doing it right now is because it would be a real bitch to show you guys on camera. So my workout's gonna take a little bit longer because I'm not gonna be able to superset. But for example, if I was doing this, I could superset it. I could do a single arm decline fly. Why can't I speak? Jesus, I can't even think. It's early, give me a break. And that could be one really good superset that I do. Or, you know, maybe the next exercise, I could do something like a decline and hand elevated pause push up to failure, and I could superset that by doing a Smith machine bent over row, something like that. And the great part about this is you effectively get to train muscle groups still while they're fully recovered, because your chest is fresh even after your back has been hit, and you get to reduce a lot of the time that you're in the gym for obvious reasons. Supersets are fantastic. If you're a busy professional and you're like, I want to get in shape, I definitely recommend using a little bit more supersets. And whatever your current plan is, hopefully you at least have a plan, because if you don't have a plan, then you're planning to fail. Everybody's heard that corny ass line before, but it's true. I got one more set here. Okay. So here's actually a great opportunity for me to show you guys what I was just talking about with the supersets, because what I'm able to do here is do high to low cable flies with a superset of lat pullovers. Jesus, they play this music loud in the morning. Oh my gosh. You know, because they play the music so loud, I am forced to turn off the ads on my YouTube videos, so I don't make any money off these, which honestly gives me a little bit more freedom, because now I can say whatever the hell I like and don't have to worry about the video getting demonetized or me getting in trouble with YouTube because they decided to put a ad for, I don't know, suicide prevention. And in my last video, I talk about what is the purpose of life? Well, it's whatever your reason is to not kill yourself. It's like, I don't think those ad companies would be too happy with me talking about shit like that. Hey Derek, what's the purpose of your life? Oh, why don't you kill yourself? No, literally. I'm not going through that ramble again. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go high to low, and then we're gonna superset with a lat pullover. I would like to use a straight bar. I don't think I have a straight bar over here, so instead I'm gonna use this.
It's pretty trusty. If you didn't have this, you could still do a single arm by just leaning to one side and biasing like that. But, oh, the hell, this sucks. I thought this was something different. So, I'm gonna show you actually how to do the single arm variation. Unless, one second. Here's where people mess up on the supersets. Your cardio might be pretty good. Like right now, my cardio conditioning is pretty good. So I'm not that out of breath, even though I just took 2 sets of failure. So people will wait like 60 seconds, 90 seconds. They're like, okay, cool, let's do it again. It's not enough rest. You're doing 2 exercises. You're doing 2 different muscle groups. Take your time here. An extra bit of rest can only ever help you unless you're the power lifter pulling up to the gym with an air mattress, taking naps in between sets. As long as you're going within 5 or 6 minutes, I know that might sound like a lot, but realistically, it's actually not that much if you're training with a lot of intensity. And then if you add in the factor that I talk to the fucking camera in between every set, then even more fatigue. Online fitness coaches suck. I'm so serious. I just kind of remembered this in between my last set. I had a call with somebody who was thinking about doing coaching with me. Went fantastic, probably gonna work with him. The reason he came to me was because he had such a bad experience with his current coach. And so he's waiting for that commitment to end so that he can work with me. And when I asked him, well, what was so bad about the program? I mean, it couldn't have been that bad. Like, why did you hate working with this other guy? And he told me that, well, he had been working with him for about 4 months, and in the entirety of those 4 months, the workout never changed, only the rep ranges. Workout stayed the exact same. The response times was about a week, and right now, that same online fitness coach is trying to coach coaches now instead of coach fitness clients. And so I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of an insight into the world of online fitness coaching and why fitness coaches suck, the majority of them. A lot of fitness coaches, or at least the online ones, are people who already had social media followings and then have an agency reach out to them and say, hey, do you want to make a lot of money for a little bit of work? We can leverage your brand into training other people online. That's the typical route. So let's say somebody has 1 million followers or even 50,000 followers. An agency might reach out and be like, hey, let us build you an offer. We are going to not train you how to coach people. You could still do that. Or even worse, we'll hire a trainer and have them pretend it's you. And then what you're gonna do is we'll hire a salesperson for you to hop on the calls to get new clients. All we require is that you post at least 1 to 2 stories per week promoting the business. We're gonna give you this percentage of the business, and then we'll take care of everything. So we're gonna coach the actual clients for you. We're gonna put a coach in there. Or if they don't wanna do that and they wanna coach the clients themselves, a lot of fitness coaches aren't good coaches because they only know whatever worked for them, and a lot of times that doesn't work for people who work a job or don't know that much. And so just giving somebody a training or a nutrition program and be like, hey, follow this, it doesn't actually fill in the gaps of how to genuinely, what information is reliable, how to take that information and implement it into your own life, and then also why you're even doing it. Because if you don't know why you're doing something, you're just following a plan, you aren't inherently developing any skills or any knowledge to be able to continue making progress for the rest of your life. And so what happens a lot of the times is some of these people will look up to somebody on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and be like, oh man, this dude's a fitness coach. I want to look like him. I'm going to apply to work with him. Not knowing that you're not actually going to be working with him. You're working with an agency that reached out to him to fucking run his entire business for him. And then he just doesn't do any of the work. He doesn't actually check on his clients. And then after a certain amount of time, this is the progression. That agency, after him doing it for like 6 months, if potentially they get a client testimonial, hopefully they do. Some people even do this without any testimonials. Then they say, you know what will be great for you is instead of just coaching fitness clients, you know where there's the real bread, the real money? It's when you coach other people who want to be coaches. You teach people to do what we just kind of taught you to do, except we didn't teach you anything. We just did everything for you, which is why all of your clients are unhappy, but you're making money. And it pisses me off because I never had an agent. I actually have had agencies reach out. I've never worked with any. And I did this 100% on my own. And it took me a shit ton of trial and error to figure out everything out. Like all the ins and outs of actually running a successful online business. And I personally work with every fucking one of my clients. I was helping on client calls before, not before this, but I have them after this, but I had them yesterday. And it's like, most coaches don't actually do that. And they just give somebody some plan, they take their money, you're fucked. After 4 months, it also muddies the waters because then when somebody comes to me, they have this little slight hesitation in the back because this guy, one of the first questions he asks is like, how closely am I going to get to work with you? Because the guy that I'm working with hasn't responded in like months. And I'm like, holy shit. The good thing is a lot of people are mature, and so they understand that. You guys know my personal story, side ramble. I got cheated on. That doesn't stop me from looking for another partner. That's not going to stop me from hopefully finding somebody in the future. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with any experience. If you have a bad experience with a coach, doesn't mean inherently all coaches are bad. If you have a bad experience with somebody who's your president, doesn't mean all presidents are going to be bad. Whatever. Don't make this political. And the crazy thing is it's really, really shitty because a lot of people are just leveraging their followers, the people who genuinely care about their content, interact with them, look up to them, who are willing to pay for their services. They get their money and then they fuck off. Fucking losers, man. Excuse my profanity. I usually don't get that heated about things, but it makes me mad. Genuinely makes me mad. Especially coming from somebody who's done it the right way and who's done it the entire time themselves. It's just loser shit, man. You're leveraging the people who gave you everything. Whatever. Alright. Dirk, aren't you an online fitness coach? I can't say online fitness coaches suck. The majority of them do. Now, I know a lot of really, really good ones. By a lot, I mean, I know 3 really, really good ones, but I only have like 5 other connects. And those are just people online, not fitness coaches. Okay, lock in. Okay, here's what I like to do sometimes. So just give it a second. I'm gonna turn my hands over so that they're pronated, and then we're gonna do almost like a decline push-up. You're gonna be able to get a couple extra reps. Right here, hands instead of being neutral, pronated. Okay, that was a beautiful set. I think talking in between sets, although it's not optimal, it's helping with my cardio. Key with these, keep your hands the exact same width from each other the entire time. Pull straight down, only using your lats. And keep that same angle in your elbow the entire way. You don't want to be extending or pulling in. So when I do this, I'm also manually flaring my lats the whole time. It's a little bit more of an advanced movement. Anybody can do it, of course. It's very, very simple. You're just literally pulling over. But if you don't have a mind-muscle connection in your lats established yet, it's probably not going to be the best exercise for you. I would work on getting that up before you do something like that. Oh, holy shit. All right, what are we going to do next? So this is why supersets are so amazing, right? Let's count up the total amount of volume so far. Taking the majority of exercises to failure, so the intensity is really high, or even past failure. So we did pull-ups,
incline press machine, cable row, and then we did a superset of high to low flies with cable lat pullovers. And the intensity was really high, taking both those to failure. So we've already done 5 exercises. I've been here, let's see, I got here at 7:30. Okay, well, shit. Okay, so it's 8:40. To be fair, I'm talking a lot in between, and it takes setup time. I walked into the gym at 7:30. All right, shut up, Dirk. I was so ready to just pull out my phone and be like, it's 8 o'clock. I've been here for 30 minutes. It's been like an hour and 10. Oh shit. All right, well, bright side, this is the last exercise. So, yeah.
You guys know this is my bread and butter. I fucking love this exercise. It's so good. Look at this range of motion. Look how deep you get into that stretch on your pec. Jeez.
I'm insecure, so every time I do this, I have to tell you guys that don't worry, I'm using the full stack.
This isn't full stack. This is a warm up. You guys need to set more unrealistic expectations.
Setting unrealistic expectations is actually a really, really smart thing to do. If you think of a 10-year goal for yourself and then tell yourself that you're gonna get it done within the next 9 months, you might or not get that goal done, but I can tell you one thing, you're gonna get a hell of a lot more done in those 9 months than you would have been able to in the first 9 months of your 10-year long goal. Ramp up your time frame, people. And a lot of times you might just surprise yourself and get there. And that's not just like the speed of which you get to your goal might actually change because you might realize that you have a bigger goal for yourself that you can go after. Set unrealistic ass expectations. Man, going back to what I was saying about that cable row, I'm really going all over the place. When I was on the cable row, I was talking about how your environment, like who you surround yourself with, is so important. One thing that I've been noticing about morning workouts is I like the people here a lot more. I really do. I really like the people here. It's a lot of people who I can tell are very busy, and it's also a lot of people who are in a lot better of shape than people who usually come around 2 to 5 p.m. Which is crazy, because usually that's like the gym lifter crowd who get, whatever. But I live in Tucson, and if I had to describe Tucson in one word, shout out to all my T-Lokes out there, that's what you call Tucson locals. Tucson's a shithole. That's the word, shithole. And when I came to the gym this morning, I saw 2 very nice sports cars parked outside, which is 2 more than I see whenever I come at 3, 4, or 5 p.m.
This is the environment I want to be surrounded in.
I think I have to clip that and send that to some of my clients. Jesus, that was exactly what I want people to do when you are pushing fully to failure with the high intensity. So, did you see that? I was able to, even while struggling, finish that super, super difficult rep that when I started that rep, I did not think I was gonna get it, but I was able to finish it just because my form was so fucking airtight. Oh my gosh, it was perfect. Big, deep stretch, slight pause, big explosive concentric motion. But more importantly, when I was getting tired, I didn't unretract my scapula and use my shoulders and do that little wiggle shit to like, oh, I want to get the weight up, it hurts so much. Locked in, keep pressing, keep pressing, keep pressing. And guess what, if I would have failed and the weight started going back down, that's totally fine. At least I'm keeping the stimulus on the target muscle as opposed to just switching it to my delt in the name of finishing one more rep, even though it's improper form. Fuck, that felt good. We're gonna do one more set here with a drop set because high intensity, don't need to do as much volume. And then we might do a little posing. I don't know. To be honest, I did
shave my like happy trail for the first time in forever, so I'm a little insecure. Can we just pretend that I didn't say that? Maybe I should make a note to edit that out. Happy trail is a common term, right? Like that's what people just be regarding that patch of hair that's like goes up to your belly button. It's not like something weird, right? All right, we out of here. So 8:53. It's been a little bit longer than I would like, but this happens when you record. I might go do posing, we'll see, probably. And then I'm gonna get back at 9:30 and have 9:30 to 9:30 to work. It's 12 hours. And then I'll, who knows, maybe watch an anime or something for 30 minutes, clock it, go back to bed. I think the reason why I can work as much as I do, I hope this doesn't come off as egotistical, like I'm bragging, I'm genuinely trying to give you all advice, is because I genuinely enjoy the work that I'm doing. I feel like I'm fulfilling my life's purpose whenever I do work. And I think that's the key, because it's difficult, but it's also enjoyable. And you kind of need, I hate using the word balance, but you do need both. It's like, I wake up every single day extremely excited because I have a lot of different stuff in my day to look forward to. I have a lot of problem-solving opportunities. I have a lot of very rewarding factors. Like, for example, it's really easy to go to the gym in the morning because my pre-workout snack that I look forward to, and it's pre-made from the night before, it's fucking amazing. It's super tasty. It makes me excited to wake up and eat it. And then I go to the gym, I have an effective workout, and then I don't have to worry about my phone because I'm gonna be getting the next 12 hours to work when I get back. And then when I get back, guess what? I have a super tasty, already pre-made meal that I'm gonna go eat. It's an overnight oats bowl. It's so fucking good, it's ridiculous. In fact, I have a, it's in my macro manipulation guide with all of my recipes. You can grab that for free with the link in the bio. Feel free to do that. I don't care if you do or not. Like, I'm not selling you anything. If you want to check it out, grab it. It's 100% for free. It took me months to write. I wrote every single word. And because I am looking forward to eating before I go to the gym, having a super effective training session because I'm not going to be stressed out because I haven't even checked my email yet. I don't know what's important or urgent stuff that I have to get back to. And then I have a meal that I'm going to be having immediately afterwards, which I'm also going to enjoy. It's like, wow, I had such an effective morning. I'm so excited. And even though it's really, really productive and it is pretty difficult, I mean, I am straining myself when I'm in the gym. It's extremely enjoyable. It's hard, but it's enjoyable. And it makes me excited to wake up every single day. And then afterwards, I get the rest of the day knowing that I accomplished one of the hardest things that a lot of people will just skip, which is, going to the gym and having an effective training session. And so then for the rest of the day when I'm working, I have this sense of pride knowing that I already got one of the hardest things done that most people aren't willing to do in their entire day. You don't have to work out in the morning by any means, but you should be structuring your life to make things at least a little bit more enjoyable, because that relies less on willpower and makes it a lot simpler to stay consistent. And then, I get all these other affirmations. Like the other day, I actually almost cried on I actually almost cried on a client call. I'm not going to say his name because he doesn't want me to talk about him. We've already talked about that. But he told me that he woke up. So he went to this this fair thing where he walked around with his partner the entire time. And for when he came back, for the first time, he was grateful because he didn't have pain. When he came to me, he was over 300 pounds. And he had been living his life with tremendous knee and back pain. And this was the first time where he walked around for an entire day at a fair or a carnival. I'm pretty sure, whatever, something. And he came back and he didn't have any pain. And at first he wasn't even grateful because, how do you be grateful for not being in pain? Like when I woke up today and I wasn't in pain, I wasn't grateful for it. But when you have been living in pain every single day of your life, and then finally that pain subsides, you notice it and you're like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. And when he told me that he was no longer in pain after being in pain for many years, that was the highlight of my week, and it still is. I hope I can top it, but I almost cried on the call while I was with him. I had to pause, and I was like, put my red light glasses on. Anyways, all right, I finished my workout here. I got to get started working. I'm excited. Today's going to be a great day. Remember, nothing changes, nothing changes. I don't know why I'm doing my outro. I'll probably take all the posing. So let's go. All right, let's see what we work with. Honestly, pumping as good as I want, but hell of a physique, bro. Hey, I appreciate it, man. Thank you, bro. Have a great workout. Appreciate it, man. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier when you guys all thought I was egotistical for saying that people genuinely give you more respect for having a good physique. Like, if you knew what it was like and then removed that, you would have the motivation to get it once again. So to make yourself more grateful, imagine what it would be like, remove that motivation. Hopefully you guys were able to hear that, or else I just sound like I forced that. All right, y'all. Remember, nothing changes if nothing changes. You are a direct result of your daily habits. Whether those are pushing you forward or holding your back, holding your back, holding you back, that is going to be the difference maker and whether or not you are successful. Stop relying on willpower, start relying on systems, make it inevitable, change your environment. A million other tips that I can give y'all that I can ramble on forever. But more than anything, remember, nothing changes if nothing changes. If you want a different result, you have to be willing to make changes to make that result happen. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And if you wake up thinking that the thing that you want will just magically happen one day, it won't. However, if you show up every single day, then that is the only true shortcut because compounding returns, and some days you do get lucky. And make sure you're there for when you do. Make sure you show up for when you do get lucky. Anyways, all right, y'all. Have a good one. Peace.